see, was only about 30 or 40 miles south of Bastogne. And Bastogne is where all the paratroopers were. And they were up there saying, "Come get us," to the Germans. "Come get us." And boy, were they prepared. And every step of the way. And we were lucky too, because the Germans ran out of gas, and they made arrangements to get more gas, and they did their very best to break through, and they nearly did. But that was what stopped the tanks, because they had a huge number. They had enough to do the job, but they ran out of gas. And as soon as they ran out of gas, we were at them again, you know. And fortunately, the weather cleared up. The weather was what made the Battle of the Bulge possible, because it had been for about a month. It had been foggy and freezing, and you couldn't see on any even clear roads. You couldn't see very far. That was very favorable to the invading Germans, you know. And so within maybe 3 days to 5 days after they were beginning to run out of gas, we were on the attack again. Fortunately, we had all the tanks we needed and all the fuel we needed. I don't know about isolated units, but the main units of Patton's army had enough fuel, enough tanks, and enough personnel to do it. And a lot of experience. Patton had been, you know, the spearhead all the way through into Czechoslovakia. And he had to stop there and not go any farther because he ran out of gas. That had been, you know, right after the Battle of Metz. He was going to go right into Germany, the next attack into Germany, but he ran out of gas. And they could have flown gas in there, aviation gas in there, and tank gas in there, but higher headquarters didn't want him in there ahead of the Russians. That was a strategic decision, and I think all of those histories of World War II treat that fact. You know, that Patton was he was beside himself. He said, "We can beat the Russians to Berlin. Why don't you send me? Why don't you?" You know, it was funny because Stars and Stripes that was the Army publication. Sure. For all the troops. And they carried this thing about what Patton was raging for, permission to go. They said, "Well, you don't have any gas." He said, "You can get me gas here." "You know you can." Oh, he just hated sitting still when he could have been getting more glory, because he was a glory hound. He really was. I guess maybe most generals are, I'm not sure. But he was. But anyway, that was the kind of thing that we became aware of, but I've never ceased thinking about those paratroopers in Bastogne.
Did you ever run into their casualties?
Oh yes, lots of casualties. Yeah, in lots of places. Bastogne was probably one of the highest number of casualties in a short period of time. I think the whole battle was over in about 10 days. But it was night and day, because the Germans kept pushing. One thing they always did well is to attack. And they used up all of their attack potential in about 10 days. And then after that, you would see ambulances, you would see burial parties, you would see all the things they have to collect and bury the troops. Let's see. And again the Belgians, you know, they helped in every way they could, because they had the feeling that if they didn't do their very best, that the Germans would somehow find a way to pull this out. And I think they were right. We needed every help we could get, you know, because they were well prepared for the Battle of the Bulge, and we were not. We were stretched out a thin line, and that's why Patton had to be thrown up there as one large unit to stop them at Bastogne. You see, it was the road network that in south, well, I guess it's in eastern, let's say southeast or eastern Belgium. All the road networks came through Bastogne. They couldn't get a direct line attack going to the channel without going through Bastogne, and that really was what saved us. If there'd been another access route to the channel, they might have made it before they ran out of gas. I don't know. So it was, as they say, it was touch and go, and we were better prepared. And actually, they never should have conducted that attack, because there was really not much chance they could pull it off. They just went against logic and said, well, we're going to try anyway. Because you see, that was before we got into Germany, except in a few little places along the border. We weren't not really in any numbers at all. We were not there yet. We were in Belgium and Holland most of the way in both countries, but we weren't in Germany yet, except in little localities. So, let's see. We got some citations, by the way, our company and some of the other companies from 510th Battalion, because they threw a lot of tough assignments at us, and we did them very well. We got, I don't know whether those citations were issued from Patton's headquarters or from another army. Maybe it was, well, I guess it was 3rd Army, because that was Patton's army. And there were individual citations and lots of unit citations, the whole unit. And there's a ribbon, a service ribbon with every one of those, So we all wound up with a lot of citations, ribbons. Well, let's see. Battle of the Bulge.